Hello and welcome to
Hey Team TV.
As you can all see, his raw shortness is back.
I'm back.
He's back.
I've been busy.
Because he's been on different jobs while I've been on obviously the jobs that you've seen, so we haven't been able to amalgamate a video together. Anyway, part 4, machinery,
Grass, equipment, tool.
So you've all probably been waiting for this one, and let's start with mowers. Right, so here we are, the Krone triples. Obviously we've got to go to the back mowers first because I managed to put the front mower away and this idiot didn't actually manage to get and put the back mowers away.
One job.
But someone else didn't put the tethers away either, did you?
This isn't about me, Matt. Just worry about what you're doing.
Mr. Bright Spark over there. Anyway, I don't overly like this mowers, I'm afraid to say. Before, we had McHale mowers, just front and back, and a Ken, you guys in Ireland, massive McHale fan here. The McHale undulation on the rear and the front is absolutely incredible. Like, no matter how big a weird water meadows we go in and undulating ground, it dealt with it. These seem to ground out and cut in a little bit too often. But we also went for a set of mowers without conditioners. Why did you go for a set of mowers without conditioners? It can gain your day. Well, if you think if you think about the summers that we've been having, we decided to take a little bit of a gamble and go, right, we'll cut it and get in with the tedder early rather than having the conditioner on the back of the mower for the first, 5-6 hours of wilt. Okay, now there's good things on this and there's bad things. The controls on it when it's in the cab, very easy to use. Once you set it all up, have it on 2 spools or 3. I have it set on 3 spools so I can work either side individually and the front. You can have it working just the front and the back, but quite often I'm not in overly square fields, so I tend to have it the way I have it and work 3. Okay, each to their own how they operate mowers. The system for the overlap, that I do quite like. So as you can see up here, that bar there slides into that sleeve. When you extend, or when you let them down, they extend out. There's a pin round the back, which I shall just take you round. See this pin here, you pull this pin, when it's out extended, you move this to either one of the next notches and you get more or less of an overlap. At the moment, we finished on quite steep ground, so I had the maximum overlap of the mower to the tractor tyre, so we weren't missing any grass. Other than that, it's a mower. It cuts grass. Something we couldn't take off, which, yeah, I made a modification, because if I don't say it, he's going to.
It's on your list.
It's on my list. Yeah, that is one of my modifications. Again, there's certain fields, and I'm sure there's those of you around the country that you have somewhere that you've either got reversing to because the angle of the gateway is absolutely atrocious to the road, and that's how I did that. But it's not the end of the world. It doesn't stop it cutting anything, so I ain't too worried about it. But the back mowers, I prefer the front mower. The front mower's not too bad on its undulation. The back mower's a little bit limited to what they can do. I think the mower was more developed for like completely flat ground, but she cuts pretty well. We haven't had the little pots, so if you hit a big stone or something, there's a pin in the little pots on the mower blades which make it lift up away from the drive line on the bed. So far I can't tell you if they're easy to put back on or what, because I've not had one do it. But as you know, we roll everything anyway. Ad, you got anything on this one?
only what you said, really. I mean, it's not been the best purchase we've ever had, is it?
No.
To be honest, we've had a few issues. We're struggling with the ground pressures as well with her at the moment, where Justin say, where she does dig in. Justin said she digs in. The ground pressures are changing quite frequently on her. They're not staying. There's no, before anyone says, there's no spool valve leaking on the back of the tractor or anything like that. There's just something wrong somewhere with the mower, and what they're actually doing is bending the blades. So instead of the mower sat down flat, flush to the ground, they're actually tilting like that, and actually no one really knows why they're doing that.
If you go through our Instagram, there's a picture down there of one set of blades actually, for some reason, started melting through, right, and elongated the hole. So if you have a look down through Instagram, you'll see that, and it was off these mowers, and no one can tell us why that happened. So yeah, a few weird, quirky things. Again, Krone tedders, we like. Krone rake, we quite like.
Yeah.
The mowers, it's
fair,
fit for something.
Krone in a way, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The Tedder's done a brilliant job, and so we based getting the Krone rake and the Krone mowers on that basically.
Yeah.
But my opinion, the Tedders are brilliant, but the mower and the rake, I don't think they've lived up to expectations.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, but it is what it is.
So watch this space in the future.
You never know.
But let's see the front mower. Here is our Krone front mower. Now, the undulation system on this thing is actually quite clever. Its pivoting system is pretty good, side to side. Only thing I don't like is the amount of pivot it's got to float over that way isn't quite as good as what the McHale was. The McHale was like on a sort of cantilever system. This is a bit more on a 3-point system. So there's a single bar going to the front with 2 sidebars. So it's a bit more like a triangle rocking system. Now, you Pottinger fans, I do like what's on the front of the Pottinger mower on the way that thing moves around, and also like what's on the Krone. Okay? So you never know what's going to happen in the future. At the moment, these mowers are cutting pretty well. Are we going to keep them around a long period of time? Like, if a deal comes up, we're just going to shift them on because there isn't quite that love for them. We used to have Splendor mows before the McHales. Splendor mow, again, it was a pretty good mower. Only thing that struggled with was a pretty tough swore of grass because the conditioner jam up. The McHales just smashed for everything, but they were heavy as hell, but you could say well built. The only other fundamental thing this thing does my head in is there are just so many greasing points. There seems to be just greasing points everywhere. Ads, what do you reckon?
Again, not my cup of tea at all, these mowers. Like Justin said, the pivoting on this for the suspension, for undulation of the ground and all that. Yeah, it's pretty clever. It's a simple. It's just a ram and float, a couple of tie bars, and a spring. That is it. And she does move well. She moves a lot better than like Justin said, than the backs do. But again, not the best purchase we've had.
But does it cut grass? Yes. Are we getting over the ground with them? Yes. It was the stepping stone to get from doubles to triples. That's why we didn't go for conditioners, because it was quite a jump for us. Even with the other gear we have, you've still got to be, you've still got to think before you just keep buying stuff. But it's, yeah, going from doubles to triples has been a massive positive for us. Not having a conditioner hasn't stopped what we're doing or made it harder, so that ended up being a positive choice. If we have a wet summer, we might be sort of swearing about it, but to this point, all's pretty good.
The only downside about a conditioner, I always think, but it doesn't matter, it doesn't mean anything. Just when you do cut a field, it's flat on the floor, isn't it? It's not like fluffed up, it's just cut flat to the floor.
Yeah, conditioner obviously leaves you that nice little lumped up row in the middle. But otherwise, does what it said on tin. Yep. Just a few little things, mods from us. As you can see, we did this on basically all our other mowers, Lely's and McHale's. Is obviously there's usually that fold down side. We just take them all off. It's just easier than wrecking them. It just makes everything neater to get around. And let's face it, anyone that's trying to push on in the summer, you don't keep getting out to flop over 2 curtains when you're in like small fields, 10 to 15 acres or lower, if that makes sense. If you're cutting 50 acre blocks or 50 acre fields, then you might actually get up because you're actually going to be there long enough to worry about it. But we just get them off. Again, when the something to go on about here is by us taking all these things off the machinery, the resale value of the machine stays higher, because what's the first things to get damaged on any bit of kit? Usually safety guards, reflectors, and any lighting boards. Yeah? Anyone want to argue that? Usually the first thing gets bent. Going through a gateway, hitting a hedge, hit a fence post, they always get hit. So by taking them off, we keep, when they go back on new, and the resale value of the machines ends up staying higher. Right, now over to the turners, which you guys can see, again, the brand Krone is involved. Now, the Krone headers, we quite like. Adam?
They are an amazing bit of kit, I find. Absolute brilliant bit of kit. We have never had any trouble with these. I'll start again.
Go.
Right, these are an amazing bit of kit, I find. I drive these and I love them. These, as you can see, are, well, you can't see at the moment, but these are a 10-star turner. They are mounted on the back of the tractor. They aren't trailed, as you can see. They are 30, when they fold out, which you'll see in the harvest videos, we're turning at 36 feet.
Adam's just on these and not saying trailed. We did have the 14-star trailed one, which turned at a
whopping
42 foot?
No, it's bigger than that.
46 foot?
Yeah, it must have been. It was heading towards 50 foot.
Right, it's heading towards 50 foot, so we're going to say 46 foot, all right? It was trailed, and, sorry, Krone.
It was a white elephant.
It was absolutely crap. It had what they sort of termed as a mechanical hydraulic unfolding system. So after synchronization system. So after every unfolding movement, the cylinder pressure would be sent to the next cylinder, if that makes sense to anyone listening to me right now while I do not breathe. And it didn't work. So if
one pull of the spool valve did the whole mechanism. So you just put your spool valve into work and the whole lot would unfold. But on one occasion, it all unfolded, and then we went to fold it back in again, as it's meant to be doing in one synchronization. It absolutely bent everything.
So our plan at the time was we run a 14 and a 8-star. 8-star would do slightly awkward small fields or fields with weird shaped headlands, you know, triangles, something like that. And the 14-star would do bulk of the work in all the big areas. That didn't work, so we went to 2 10-stars, as you can see here, and Adam will carry on explaining.
Fuck, we can't unfold, isn't it?
Go.
I'm not ready yet, you twat. I told you I wasn't ready.
Well, I'm putting this in.
Well, put what you like in. Hurry up.
Go.
Still not ready. Right, so if you have got...
Ready now, Ad.
God, Jesus Christ, man, you testing my patience today, boy.
So you ready? Go.
God. Right, as you probably, if you've got a Krone tedder, no matter what shape, size, whatever, you'll notice that there are no safety boards or no lights or anything that are on these. This is purely because we're so tight down here with roads and gateways and all that, we take them all off because we don't want to bend them. So when we do eventually send these back, they're all like new. So these hats here, these are meant to stop the grass wrapping around the tyres when you're tedding. And Krone, they are rubbish. On the big tyres, down here.
Fit through there, mate.
Oh, you're doing my head in. They will wrap up like hell on these here. I don't know why it's these two back tyres, wheels, but they wrap up like hell. They're always wrapping up forever. Second cut will be alright. It's always first cut. Just don't like the sticky wet grass for some reason.
Now, what on Adam's just saying here, I used to love the Lely. Anyone that ever drove a Lely Lotus, which again I think I brought up in a video, harvest video somewhere. Fendt have brought out the Lotus, any of you Fendt fans, and when we saw it at Llama, it looked pretty much spot on to the old Lotus with a few little mods around the frame, but the general driveline and everything looked the same. Fendt on these don't have these crap hats, or the Lotus. They have like a wing plate coming out the back, okay, or they called it a deflector, and that actually worked. It very, very rarely wrapped up anything, occasionally on some of the really long ryegrasses that we grow. But that actually worked. Something else on Lotus, which I used to love, was, if anyone's seen them, the tines are different. They've got like a hook point that comes up that way, right? So that sort of angle, and it sort of rips the grass apart, so you don't get any lumps in the field. Now, any of you old boys, you know that a lump of grass can hold moisture in it, and the idea is getting a even spread so you get an even dry, if everyone's staying with me. But these, Adam and my old man still like them. They still think that they do just as good a job, but I'm still, unfortunately, a big Lotus and Lely fan, even though they're gone. But hopefully, as Fendt have brought them back out, they get brought back out and maybe built a little bit stronger, because the driveline was their weaker point.
But the driveline on this, which I find is a really good idea, I know a few more town makes that like it as well, is the main drive, instead of coming through with UJs coming all the way through, which I find is an absolute load of balls, is the digi fingers, if you come down here, where they interlock the drive. And I always think this is so simple but so clever. It's brilliant. I mean, we have no problem with these. Maintenance wise, I don't know what other people do with their turners, but we always put molly grease in these. So just a couple of times throughout the season, just make sure they're always covered in grease, and then we have never had any problems with them. I don't know what anyone else has had any problems, but we find that bit of grease in there a couple of times a season, sorted.
Now, headlands. Everyone's got, or every make now has got a different system on their headland. Off my head, and someone here is going to like totally tell me I've got something wrong. I'm sure Pottinger have either a curtain come down, or the outside one comes back a bit.
I can't remember, our old one had the curtain come down, didn't it?
Old one had,
yeah, the old one, the old 14-star one, the curtain come down.
Oh, so the old, yeah, the 14-star Krone that we had in had a hydraulic curtain on the outside line, stopping you through grass and in hedge. I've seen on other makes, I can't remember totally off my head, there's one make, and I think it's Pottinger. Now, Pottinger fans, prove me wrong, let me know, mostly because I've forgotten. I'm sure there's one that's got the outside tedder kicks in one, or just kicks back at an angle to throw back in. The Krone, the whole tedder turns in an angle, so you blast all the grass into the field rather than pushing it out the field, if that makes sense. What do you think of that system?
I like it, I do like it, but with our job, I mean, we have quite heavy first cuts. So you often do find when you bring it in from the hedge, she will lump up quite a bit, and you've got to keep going through it. That is the only downside. It doesn't bring it in evenly sometimes. It is just brings it in at a lump. That's the only thing I don't like about it.
Here is our Krone 880 Sword, or TC Swordrow. Is it TC?
Yeah.
TC Swordrow Plus. And it was quite a good purchase. It's done everything so far, but it's hard for me to say because I'm not really the one that tries it. I'm usually on mowers. But the guy that can tell you all about it is just here, obviously. So, Ad, what's your thoughts?
It is a very good rake. It does what it says on the tin. Right, so yeah, it's a brilliant rake. At the beginning, faultless. But I've got to say, as the season went on, she started to have a few issues. With coming out your work, like the turn around and going back into your work, the arms, you lift up your arms to come out of work, and all they want to do is beat themselves up on the part of the body of the rake, which down here, you can see, would beat itself up a bit.
Point again.
This bit here, so your arms. So obviously, if we'll rake this rake here, she'll start raking at 7.6, and you'll finish at 8.8. So first cut, we always rake at 7.6 because we have so much grass. It's got to be right. The rake's got to be right in for the baler. Cannot odds that. We've tried 8. It's just too much grass going into the baler. So the trouble we're having on first cut, especially, as you were lifting the arms up, like I said, it was just hitting on the body of the rake all the time. And what it actually was in the end was these bolts up here. These bolts up here snapped off, and on the actual arms.
Point again, Ad.
These are bolts up here. A few of them snapped off, and on the arms, where the telescopic bit where the arms reach out, there's a series of, I can't see him now because he's tucked in. In here, there's a nylon plate that's all bolted on. It's all bolted on with Allen key heads and stuff like that. They were all loose. So as it was coming up, the arms, these here, with the actual arms of the rake, were flicking up on the body of the rake itself, which wasn't good. I mean, this went on and on and on. We had Krone out, we had where we bought it from out, and we couldn't get the end of it, but in the end we did get the end of it. And so that was that. We sorted that out, and then another boo-boo we had, this steering arm here, as I was turning out of work, for some reason it picked up on the shaft here, and as you can see, the arm got bent. It bent like a bit of. So that was a late at night one. So we come back, we got a pipe bender, and we straightened that out to get us going again. I mean, she's fine now. I mean, she's adjustable bar anyway, so we just adjusted her where she had to be, and she's absolutely fine.
So another little thing, and it can't really be helped, and I think it's the same on all rakes now, Ad. The majority of them now travelling are 3 metres. Well, quite often some size boys are going to freaking go on that we're wrong on this, but we're predominantly doing hay and haylage, and it's a lot drier. But the size boys that are going early are all opting for wanting these great big wide wheels. They're not needed. It's just giving us extra problems when we're getting around. Fortunately, we know a guy that Adam's pretty much looking at right now that goes around in the winter time with a dung spreader and widens all the roads. But we aren't point fingers or name names. But that tyre's not really needed, is it, Ad?
No, it's too wide. The Krone love putting their wide tyres on their machines. Always have done. There's no need. It just needs a flotation, but just a little bit smaller. Because it's 3 metres as it is. This is over 3 metres with these wide tyres on.
We used to have a lady hibiscus, and anyone still got one, we wish we still had one. It absolutely hell of a rake. A-frame, strong. We had it, what, 10 years?
Yeah.
10 years, and she just had to go. She had a little problem coming inside, like the spider arm. There was something starting to click and make funny noises in there, and we just decided we had to change.
It wasn't worth the money to do her up, was it?
Yeah.
We priced it all off, just wasn't worth it.
So we changed it for this, and this is what we got at the moment. Anything else, Ad?
No, she's a very good rake. Apart from a few teething problems, she does what she's meant to do, and she leaves a clean line of grass.
Yeah. But watch this space. So this is our McHale V660 variable chamber baler. Right, so, well, right, our V660, just a little recap. We started off life with a Welga RP12, which then went to a Welga something on my head saying 200. I'm probably wrong. Then we went to class. After that, we had a couple classes, which, again, if you're in the comments below, if you'd like to have a history on balers or mowers that we've had, we can do a chat video. That isn't a problem. Then after class, we decided to make a change. Obviously, the Welgers have a huge problem with wrapping net around the intake. Class, we had problems with the hydraulic back door, because I'm pretty sure it was hydraulic latching, and or yeah, a hydraulic closing system. So if you kept pumping grass in, right, the rams didn't have a latching point to hold the door, so the door would end up gapping and opening up with Bale getting bigger inside. If any of you have had that problem with any of those old classes, let us know. But that's what we had. So we decided at the time that McHale, out of nowhere, that were known for just wrappers, were bringing out a Baler, and we went for them. So first we started with F, I think 550 or 540 fixed chamber before we got to the variable. The fixed chamber was absolutely bomb proof, never had a problem with it. Only, well, say never had a problem with it, only little problems we have with the McHales is in the first first couple of fields of the season, we have a problem with the knife cutting. Mostly, getting that bit of rust off it. When that knife shines up, we don't tend to have a problem afterwards. Other than that, it is kind of an unbelievable baler. Right, it is hungry. My man drives like hell. We put in how much grass in a row adds?
Well, it's depending on what we're raking, obviously, and what cut we're on. First cut in this, we'll rake at probably about 8 meters, and she will eat that no problem. Second cut on our rake, she goes out to 8.8 meters, so she will handle the whole width of that row. So she will eat grass. Right, shut it out. Best thing with this, she's got a wide pickup anyway. So I think she's 2.1 meters wide, and she's got a double drive system on this. So that means she will bale in the most toughest conditions you can obviously put her in, which is why McHale is well known for, to be honest with you.
Here we have our McHale. Again, massive McHale fans, as you all know, especially you guys at Ireland, which probably love it too. This is our 991 high speed. So if I bring you around, it's in this little rickety old shed where it lives. Anyway, it has 2 dispensers. So obviously we halve the rotations of the bale going round, which speeds everything up massively. This thing has just been sat here since last time I used it, because I spend most of my life on this thing wrapping bales. So obviously wrap is still there. Pretty much this thing is sort of absolutely bomb proof. Anyone that's got one, it just, every bale cuts it, never a problem on cut. Every bale wraps, it is literally bomb proof. Only 2 little snags on a 6 foot. If this thing isn't placed absolutely level, and we have in the past, I've had to put a block under one wheel to raise up the side to get a square. On a 6 foot, they will get kicked off, which we'll get to in a minute on what Adam is going to explain in a second. Another little thing on this, and this isn't the machine's fault, it's more driver error, is if you have a tail of net on the end of your bale, which I'm sure loads of you out there have had this scenario, and that tail goes round, if you don't get out and cut the tail off, the tail ends up going round the cog and the chain underneath the bed. But when you're busy, it's one of those sort of things. Now, I'm sure some of you are really good and you get out and do it. I don't. It's a case of there's too many bales coming in too fast. When you get out every 5 seconds to get rid of tail. What I usually do at the end of the day is I'll clear off everything I can see. Once a year, we end up having to tip up the bed, go underneath, and clean out the cogs and run the chain all properly. But we've had one chain snap ever.
Yeah, one.
So where we didn't get in to clean the chain and the cog soon enough. But other than that, there is like nothing. We used to have Canervalins. Canervalin wrapper was very good, but obviously the Canervalins at the time that we had, can't remember the number, it had a guillotine cutting system. So it was on a spring. So as it rotated round, it sort of wrenched back the spring. And then when it got to cutting, it was all done on like a trip. And then the knife went on a spring and it was all sounded a bit deadly, to say the least. But we changed to McHale wrapper and yeah, never went back. The first wrapper we ever had was an L hole. If anyone's got an L hole, that was an interesting concept of a wrapper. But yeah, we've been with these wrappers now for at least 16 years. And we had a single dispenser, then we went to double dispenser, and we've always had the motor on the front, which Adam's going to get to now.
Right, so as Justin was saying, the problem with the 6-foot is, as you can see, our engine is mounted on the side of the wrapper on its frame. Now, it's all secured by all these rubber bushes. Now, if you come over here...
Well, if you can just see, one second, if you just see from there to there, it's slightly bent, which Adam's going to get to now.
So these rubber mounts, obviously, is for shock, and, you know, it can move. Right, so as you can see, these are all the engine mounts, and what actually happens is, like Justin was saying, 6-foot bale on the turntable, wrapping. If it's not level, they will fall off, and it does cause damage.
God, you're bloody tall up there.
Always one. It's original. You've lost me now.
Rubber mounts, that's what you're on.
I'm not, I'm on wrapper.
Oh.
So as I was saying, 6-foot bales, as you know what we do, on the turntable, wrapping. Like Justin said, again, if the wrapper isn't level, they do fly off. And this is what happens. They fly against the engine, like that, and they snap off the mounts. But because this one is bent, the frame is bent on this one. So
I'll just show the snap mount at the moment. So guys,
there's a snap mount right here.
that's the last one that went.
But because the frame is bent and there is tension like that, this will always keep snapping regardless whether anything hits it or not because of the movement. So what we did here was a slight bodge, a ratchet strap, a couple of shackles, and she's good to go. So as you can see, we're using a power wrap engine. I don't know if you have power wrap up the line or wherever you are, but we've always used power wrap, and it's a Lambardi engine. I think roughly it's about 20 to 30 horsepower engine, and little gearbox on the little hydraulic gearbox on the side of her, powering the wrapper. It's so simple to use, unbelievable.
Right, I know you're all probably thinking it. This video was not filmed on the same day as some of the other videos. No, we have not been having a costume change. One, we're not that bright enough to do that. It's just sometimes we film bits as and when we can. So here is part of our, we thought about putting this in the trailer tour, but we just thought we'd just leave it as trailers and chuck it into the grass equipment tour. So this is our Murray bale spike. Okay, and this is, I think Adam will agree as well, pretty awesome.
This is a pretty amazing bit of kit.
It is a pretty amazing bit of kit. So I'm going to spin you around, go through it.
Right, so this, like I just said, this is our Murray spikes, as we like to call them. When we first had them for the first couple of years, the second season we had them, these failed massively. So we lifted up a couple bales of haylage on the top. You come in like she is now in position. You lift your 2 bales up first. She have got here, which was a little bit of a design flaw with them. I don't know what they're like now because these are a few years old now. This failed here, so as I lifted up, it fell right into the back of the tractor, causing significant damage to the tractor and the bale spikes. But anyway, that's another story for another day. So,
But just 1 second, just 1 second. But you broke it.
yeah, it's on my list. I broke it.
It's on his list.
But it wasn't actually my fault though, but I did break it. So, it's on my list. So when we first had this, but we didn't really notice at the time, because these are meant to be heavy duty, is you see these gussets here? There was 2 back gussets here and 2 front gussets they put on. There was none of that beforehand, and they were just welded to the box section. And what that actually did over the year that we had it, it all cracked and obviously all bent. There was no heavy duty gussets. So we had all that put on, all made, and she has been absolutely spot on ever since. The only trouble we've ever had with her obviously was that, but that was no one's fault. And we had a ram bend that the 2, but some bales we do, like 3rd cut or 2nd cut, a bit wet, they are a bit heavy, and it actually bent the ram. But otherwise than that, she is an amazing bit of kit, and she's pretty much maintenance free.
But talking back on me with this bit of kit, with the little faults that we've had, he'll come in with his point of view in just a second. If this machine had massive failure, we had to write it off, we would instantly replace it with exactly the same machine. Agreed?
Yeah, but shut up and doubt. There is nothing, I don't think, out there like this, strongly built, the new one, like this.
And we've had this one 5 years, and those of you thinking, oh, but it's breaking, remember, we're not, only about 20% of the time we're picking up a 4-foot bale. So we're picking up the 6-foot round bale, which if you guys, especially you guys that drive round balers, if you think that 2 foot on the outside of a 4 foot is nearly a second bale, so it's 2 bales in one. So think that we're not lifting 4 bales with one of these, we're lifting 8. Okay, just think about that. 8 bales on the back of a tractor, right? Of what would be your normal 4 foot. And that is why we bent it. It wasn't what the machine was designed to do. We've just made the machine to do what we wanted
They
it to
did
do.
say it would do, wet, heavy silage, which, to be honest, some of the 4-foot heavy wet silage are up there.
Yeah.
They're heavy, aren't they?
But as soon as you go to a 6-foot bale,
yeah,
it's even
different.
heavier.
Yeah, there
isn't
you
it?
go. But it was meant to be designed to do it. We asked the questions, yeah, fine. But obviously it didn't do it. But it doesn't matter. It was all done on warranty. They were good as gold to deal with.
Yeah.
And they put it right. And now I think the new ones are gusseted, what I've seen pictures of. But it is but even all the box section and everything is really heavy on it.
So if you're down our way, there's a little bit of a shout out to people. If you're down our way and you think this is a good bit of kit, we got this piece of machinery through Wilcox's in Bubby Tracy, around about Wilcox's at Bubby Tracy near Newton Abbot. So they are our obviously New Holland dealer as well. That is where we got this piece of machinery. If you liked the 2 Krones over there, they are from Holses of Honiton, or Holses Machinery, Holses Agri. I don't know what, you can Google them on Google and find out about them. They're the main Krone dealer down here. So just think about that. And these are 2 sets of machines that we really like. And just so you know, none of them are paying us to say that. It's just they.
Yeah.
He's hopeful about things, but like.
To pay.
But honestly, guys, they're not paying.
No,
it's just
nothing.
Holsters of Honiton, family-run business, awesome to deal with.
We love doing this for free.
Yeah. Wilcox's are a great business to deal with as well, and we've been dealing with them for a long time. So anyone down here, or pretty much anyone in like the southwest of England, they deal way up the line. So just think about that if you're watching around. You don't have to deal with local. Sometimes you can deal with further away. They'll still do you just as good a deal. Now, I'm going to take this off ads because this was bought for me when I first came home, and it's still going, and this is a bit of a pup, but everyone seems to love her. So this is a bale spike. When I came home first, it was the first bale spike that we bought. Okay, and it cost us 500 quid, and it was made by a guy in Cornwall. Well, he was young at the time, and he was starting to make a few little simple bits of machinery to make extra cash on the side of his farm. Anyway, he started making these bale spikes. Now, any of you that have probably started noticing that it looks a little bit familiar, this bale spike is based off a Two's buck rake. It's obviously been cut down, ripped apart bit, big piece of box section put on the back, and a pair of spikes whacked into it. Now, the only thing that's ever gone wrong with this and you guys, even if you wanted to buy one, you can't anymore because I don't think he's making them, is the two spikes have bent through time. But we've had it for 12 years. Okay. Now, we've got another bale spike to show you in a minute, which, do we like the other one?
No, I can't. I'd never use it.
Right, so no one likes the other one, which was purpose built. This one, which is basically a buck rake, okay? And if any of you guys have got one of these buck rakes and you don't use it anymore and you want to make a bale spike, I'll show you the secret to it. The secret to this, guys, the angle it picks up on, I'll talk to it in a minute. The secret to it is the guy extended the height of where the pin fits. Okay, if the pin fitted lower down, bales would just fall off. Now what I'm on about is, if that pin was lower down, as the bale spike comes up on the back link arms, it would do that. Because the pin point is higher, as you lift on the power link arms, the bale does that. Okay, so no matter how you lift the bale always ends up upwards. So if you're making a set of bale spikes, any of you youngsters like, you know, having a bit of a go with a welder, raise your top link point, because then when you're going in, you'll get that, bales won't fall off, rather than that effect. Does that make sense? Also, because this one's loved so much, Adam,
This won't look like this when we go to use it. I am doing her up, so we're going to have new tines, and she's going to have a complete new spray job.
because you love her?
Because she's a bit of kit.
Yeah.
So simple, but she's brilliant at what she does.
So it was a very, very good purchase at the time with me and my father. 500 quid. It's been here 10 years, and not even Mr. Grumpy wants to see it go. Do you, mate?
No.
Right, here is the other set of spikes, and it's crap.
It's rubbish.
It's absolutely crap, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got really nothing to say about it because it's that crap.
So you've got our honest opinion. It does work, ish. Ish is the fundamental word here, Ads.
Yes, it's been very good, is it?
Right. We even now. I said, so if you can get an old buck rake and turn it into a bale spike, do what we said and put the extended top link. All right, it works. Now we put the extended top link on this one, and it didn't work. Now I did say a minute ago that most important part is put that on it, but because it's a buck rake, the back of the buck rake is obviously at that slight angle away, so all your lever points operate right. This is built dead square, and for some reason that top link, it helped a little bit but not enough, so we just went back to the front link that was on it before. But honest opinion, it's rubbish. Adam?
It is, well, for YouTube viewers it's rubbish, but I've got a lot more words to say about it really that I can.
So yeah, we're just gonna leave it like that because we've got nothing to talk about this one.
Bale spike.
Yeah, it's a bale spike. It gets us out of a hole sometimes, but we prefer the other two. We hope you've enjoyed our machinery tour part 4. If you haven't yet done so,
Please subscribe.
and ring that bell. Also, you can
Find us on Snapchat, Twitter and Instagram.
make sure you leave us a thumbs up or a comment on the video.
Leave us a thumbs down.
He's all about just staying in his grumpy little world.
Yep.
Anyway, there is going to be one more machinery tour. It's going to be part 5. We're going to call it the miscellaneous machinery tour for all the bits and bobs we got left. We're not breaking it down anymore. We're kind of getting burnt out on machinery tours. But you guys want to hear about stuff, so we thought we would deliver and talk about stuff. But until next time,
Cheers.
have a great day.